Catherine, this turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Put that cookie down! Now! Put that cookie down! Now!
Greetings and salutations, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Talk Hard. It's Tuesday. Let's do it. Put your cookies down. Let's talk Jingle All the Way. The multitude of shenanigans are afoot, and we are here to do it with you. How is everybody? Hope you guys are out there. You are doing great. Loki, my friend, I got the fists in the air. I got the smile. My work here's done. It's all downhill from here, my friend.
These cookies are so good. I gotta get the recipe. Put the cookies down now. Those are my cookies.
Those are my cookies.
Those are my cookies. Oh, Phil Hartman's an absolute legend. No, that just made me smile. Thank you, Pops.
Yep.
I'm doing good. I'm good. Getting in that Christmas spirit.
That's good. It's great to see. Yeah, I have the clip loaded. I have had that comment and quote in my head for about a week and a half now. It's insane. And this is a movie that I can't wait to hear more of your guys' take on, because I did a video on this with JT Cap, who just adores this movie because it's obviously in this nexus years, depending on your age, or things that are big deal when you were a kid and that kind of thing. So for certain people, this is way bigger than it is for someone like me. But IRONCASTER, my friend, what is going on? Merry Christmas. Hope you're doing well, man.
Oh, what a Merry Christmas this has been. It's getting the type of time of season. You know, people are starting to go out there and they're starting to get their gifts out, and there we go. And I might have got something. I might have started getting a gift or two early, and unfortunately, I might have been prying into the presents this year a little early.
Right.
I mean, it didn't say don't open before Christmas, but I did get something from you, and.
Mm-hmm.
It's like definitely put a smile on my face.
Well, my work here is done. This is it. I'm checking boxes. I'm waiting to get SQUEEKA to cooperate a little more with us. She's been the difficult sister amongst the group here, but we're working on her, folks, and we will find a way to make her happy as well. And she's made us. I mean, she just continues to bless us. This is crazy. Gifting memberships again. ZBR. Padawannabe, Brian Jones, Earl 3, and Drake Miller got memberships from SQUEEKA. Thank you so much. SQUEEKA, I don't know what to say, man. You've been so special to us, and to do that. All I got is this clip. It's all I got.
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Who told you can eat my cookies?
Oh, these cookies. I gotta get the recipe from Les.
Put that cookie down! Now!
It's the best. I'll trim it when it's copyright claimed. So if you're not watching this live, folks, you're getting the edited version because it's gold. It's Phil Hartman is just the Phil Hartman and the Santas. I wish I had more time. I would have put some of the Santa clips in because they were also some of my favorite parts. But SQUEEKA, how was this movie for you? What's this like? You've seen this, obviously.
This is a first time watch for me, so
Wow.
I hadn't
Awesome.
seen it yet. It had its moments, but at the same time, I guess I wasn't in the Christmas spirit because I was like, oh, this movie. Maybe I need to watch it again. But I wasn't feeling it. I was just,
All right. Well, it's okay. We'll talk about it. We'll get into that.
But yeah, I was just like, oh, the kids all. Well, and then too, I was in work mode and I watched it like right after work, and I shouldn't have, because then I'm like, that's not developmentally appropriate. He wouldn't be doing that. That's like, I was like,
yeah. But this is a movie that has a lot to talk about. We can talk a lot about it, and it's positives and negatives for sure. So, Pat
I
S
feel
is
like
here.
I should put on my other avatar, but it says naughty on it. I don't know if that's appropriate.
You're fine. You can do Naughty Mouse.
Yep.
We're okay.
It's
We're
my
fine.
Christmas
You're,
one. There. How's that?
There
It's
you
my
go. You're
Christmas
fine.
mug.
You're fine. You're amongst safe people. We'll protect you. So, hail to you, Chris. Hail to the Tetrarchy of Talking Hard. Hail to you, my brother. Thank you for all you do, as well, my friend. Penny's here putting up the Christmas stuff. There you go. That's great. Put that cookie down. Yes, indeed. Cookie stuff. SQUEEKA. Yes, thank you. Yeah, not put those cookies down. I know I've been stealing the cookies, so the grandkids left and made cookies and left cookies, Loki. So I don't know what they expect me to do, diet or no diet. You can't just leave the cookies. Like,
You know what's bad? Thanksgiving comes around, and I go over to the in-laws, and my mother-in-law, who's the sweetest, most wonderful lady that should know better, has an entire bag of sugar cookies from the cookie factory, from the big cookie factory, like that's connected to marble slabs. So, you know, those cookies are like, and I'm just like, those are the softest, bestest cookies in the world. And she's like, they're all for you. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die right here at Thanksgiving dinner because my diabetes is gonna go nuts, and I'm gonna want to eat all the cookies because the cookies are mine.
that's
Those
it.
are my cookies.
It'll be with a big old smile on your face.
So good.
We
There's a
haven't
whole
started
bag of them
cookies
in
yet.
the kitchen. Still, I can't do it. I can't. I mean, even one a day would be horrible for me.
What kind of cookies are they?
They are okay. So, Cookie Factory is like the place that's usually connected to Marble Slab. They make all fresh, homemade, like cookies. But I mean, these are big,
They're huge
soft-
cookies.
Oh,
And it's like the
And
thin,
it's-
soft,
Oh.
melt in your mouth. You heat them in the microwave, give them about 11
Oh.
seconds, and they're just.
I'll be
gooey,
right over to
beautiful.
help you with that chore there, Loki.
Yeah, they
you're
didn't
more
even.
than welcome. There's a whole bag.
They didn't even button up Thanksgiving before because the little one, she asked if she could bake and make cookies, so they just made cookies, and I'm like, oh my gosh! So I mean, there's still stuff from Thanksgiving and then into the cookie. Yeah, so
I'm gonna show up and Loki's gonna say, "Put down the cookies."
I've gained probably like 4 pounds. It's just
My
in a week and a half.
cookies.
Yeah,
I've got neighbors calling me asking me, "Hey, Caster, do you want some pie? We've got a whole pumpkin pie for you." It's like,
man, he's got the hair and the free pie. He is the star of the show. He is the star of the show. Beard is here. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you
Hi,
indeed.
Beard.
What that bootleg Turbo Man toy? It's fun. Bootleg. There is actually like a couple 100,000 of them, I believe, of the real ones. Those are the ones to get, man. Soul Assassin. If you can find them, they're like, I think there's like 250,000 were all that were made, and Lord knows how many have survived to this date. Probably not very many.
I seem to recall maybe about 4 or 5 years ago they went and made new Turbo Man figures, so they're I think it should be more common than you think.
Does it
Well, I'm
have
only-
the karate chop turbo action?
Yeah, I was always talking about the
No, but they
original.
might be speaking Spanish.
I love the Spanish one.
Oh, you know what, Chris? You made me think. Loki and I, we need to work on. We should throw together some lyrics to do an Ironcaster Shark Santa type Christmas song, and we should have a little theme song or something, and maybe we can get some AI to do. I'll work on doing the AI artwork for it or something, and yeah, that's good.
I can help. I used to do lyrics for a friend of mine. I'll help
There
you.
you go. It's just we got to do that. I mean, that's the best. That's the gift that keeps on giving right there. So thank you, Chris. Yeah, Phil Hartman. Indeed. Very talented indeed. Slasher Fred is here. Hey, brother. Those cookies come in 10 boxes. Mm-hmm. Zach is in the house. Hey, brother. Great to see you. Yeah, there's cake-shaped cookies as well. Yeah, there's these massive ones. Oh,
SQUEEKA. It's like having a piece of pizza that's a cookie.
Oh.
It's like a pizza. It comes in a pizza.
They can
it's
do them
got
pizza
frosting.
size. Mm-hmm.
They're pizza size. You can go into the store and you can get a slice that looks like a pizza.
But are they
cookie.
good cookies? Are they
They're
good
good.
cookies?
Oh,
They're some
yeah.
of the best cookies you'll ever have, SQUEEKA.
Yeah, they are. They're really good. They've definitely lasted the test of time. And I think the biggest thing too, if you got one, it's just like I said, you got to go 11 seconds or so and get it softened up for you, and you'll be good to go because it's some good stuff. Right. What
And
on
to
earth?
answer Pat S's question, no, I didn't only watch television before joining the show. I don't watch television either. Like,
Well, no, to be clear, she watches the TV edits of movies.
Sometimes. Okay, so this movie suffered a lot because it comes out in 1996. Space Jam is a big deal. 101 Dalmatians is a big deal. Just bad timing again. So wait, this theme of these movies that have kind of survived into holiday legacy, but definitely were not always box office successes. And Arnold was kind of dabbling with the comedy thing, and because he started with Twins. And Kindergarten Cop, I think, was kind of more of a hybrid one where he's kind of got a couple action sequences, but it's still a comedy. By the time we got to Jingle All the Way, some of the silliness stuff that hadn't worked kind of works. And this movie is really blessed, I think, by the Phil Hartman, the Santas, and some of those kind of things that kind of have made it live on, so to speak. Yeah, and Sinbad, who wasn't supposed to be the guy. Like they kind of, they went after DeVito first, and then Sinbad was overseas, and they actually waited to audition them together or something like that. So yeah, just that's the stuff coming together. That's what made it work. DJ Ryan G says you're late. You're not late, brother. I'll hold the door for you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how this one has, in a way, sort of crept up, and I really feel like in the last few years, especially, it's gotten a lot more of a limelight to it, where people sort of started to come back to it and started to appreciate it more with about a good 20-year hindsight to it.
It's a 20-year rule, right? Loki, we've talked about this, right? The 20-year rule is so true. Like the things that you love, and then when you're 20 years old, it starts to get a little more, oh man, I like this when I was a kid. And then 20 years later, it becomes like nostalgia stuff. Have to share it with your kids, your grandkids. You start, so it's just 20-year rules for sure. Yeah, so first time watching, I'm still squeaking, I'm still reeling because I thought this was one of those that has been just so overexposed. That would be one of the negatives on this one. It's just like, oh, I was on cable for 24 hours in a row, and I'm sick of seeing. That's more of the negative that I would.
I don't think I'd never watched cable either, so I like.
Yeah.
I guess I never saw the reruns.
The setup for this is kind of some of the least interesting elements of the movie, really. Like Arnold is the overworking crazy business guy. He's doing his shenanigans. This is really some of the more unbelievable and irritating elements of the movie for me, where I'm just like, but they at least do have fun with it, with the whole you're my favorite number one customer kind of gags, and some of that stuff's fine. So
remember, you're my favorite customer.
And he does it to his wife, of course, and it does set up the Robert Conrad role as the cop, which is, I think, one of my favorite things. Is you end up with these moments where people that are old like me know, oh, that's Robert Conrad. Holy cow! So yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, it's one of these things where this was kind of an era in which we could get these little running gags that keep popping up, because comedies have sort of gone away. And so we kind of forget, like, yeah, sometimes there are like these rule of three or rule of fours that kind of come in sometimes, that these big parts pop up. And here's the cop. Every time he's going to show up, Arnold's going to get in trouble, and he's going to have to like kind of go walk away with this sort of head held low and like, oh.
Yeah. Let's welcome Kathy. She came here. Lady Miss is in the house. Great to see you as well.
Lady Mist.
And yeah, Soul Assassin Jake Lloyd, Anakin kid. Oh, that poor kid. He's
Lisa say you're not getting a turbo man, little Annie.
Oh boy. It's yeah.
That's so turbo.
I watched as a kid. It didn't hit, but revisiting it, yeah. No nostalgia for me. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Beard, get you. Yeah, no problem. We understand. So, so yeah, the shenanigans just kind of keep going. There's little Annie. Dad doesn't make Howard doesn't make it in time, and there's just shenanigans afoot. All of the cliches, and then we get the star of the show, in my opinion. It's just crazy.
I'm the schmarmy neighbor that's like, oh yeah.
So did I miss something? Does it explain what happens to his wife? Like, or did I miss that?
They got divorced, and that was sort of the end of it. and it's like with the way Phil Hartman is throughout the entire movie, where he's basically trying to wine and dine all the wives in the neighborhood, it seems like. And so it's like, it seems pretty clear, like, oh yeah, he was just being unfaithful to her, and now he's kind of like trying to move on to the next prospect.
Well, he blames it on her too. I think he goes off on the fact that his kid's mom's off somewhere else with somebody. So
it's never really registered with me enough that I took note of it. To be honest,
yeah, same. I was like,
but I get it. I've met the people that are like this, like the guy that's like totally macking on all of the women that are in the neighborhood, being like the local handyman or offering to do different things, and all they're doing is trying to slide right in. So,
literally,
yeah, 100%.
Sorry,
I will say this kid's got some cool stuff in a cool room, by the way. Just from the nerd perspective, the kid's got some really.
He's got some good art skills too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bad. Here's the Anakin that we all know.
Annie, are you okay?
Mrs.
I
Tom
haven't seen
Hanks.
the new Star Wars, so this was just a kid to me. I feel like I'm missing out on a bunch of lore here.
Yeah, when we redid the new Star Wars movies, he's the kid that gets cast to grow up to be Darth Vader someday, and it makes about as much sense as it did then. But
kid.
It all makes sense now. He didn't get the Turbo Man doll he wanted as a kid, and he grew up to be evil.
You figured it out. Oh, now we know IronCaster. Oh, now we know.
Now we know. It's all a connected universe.
See, I'm making the face that Arnold is making right now.
That's why I stopped there. Yeah. So it's the Jake Lloyd universe, right? So all of the different roles, and it's like, oh, here we go.
That's why it makes sense.
His father was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he grew up to be Darth Vader.
It's good references. I see what you do there, Pat. Yeah, I see we're keeping up with you. So yeah, all of the setup stuff is just Turbo Man, all the nonsense, meeting Sinbad. Hey, we're going to go to the toy store, and then just the Black Friday shenanigans of stuff. So I don't know. I didn't work any retail whenever the sort of like Cabbage Patch, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, this was happening in the middle of Tickle Elmo, by the way. So it's another reason the movie may not have played because there was some kind of resentment of, hey, we actually went through this like a couple of days ago trying to find a Tickle Me Elmo. Did you guys ever? I definitely did the Black Friday thing. People do run around and act like crazy a lot back then. But I don't know. Did you guys ever work retail or have to go through this experience with like actual toys?
I didn't work retail, but I know that one year some guy got knifed for cutting in line at the Walmart we were at to get in. This was like 15, 20 years ago. Wow. And I was just like, this is nuts. This is like absolutely insane. Why would you knife someone over trying to wait to get in at midnight to go shopping? It's absolutely nuts. The people that do this are absolutely nuts. I've done it a couple of times, but it was always like, oh, well, you're trying to get the most for your kid, or you're working on trying to get something that it would be impossible for you to get otherwise. The people that make this a lifestyle, absolutely crazy people.
Yeah, I worked at a Walmart, and it wasn't our Walmart. It was some other one. Like, let's just assume Arkansas or something. It was in the middle of the country somewhere. And we had these doors that the door would disengage so they could open like barn doors. So large things could come in through the front as well. And that door had broken with all the people pushing on it. And the door fell in like that. And that's how somebody got hurt when I was there. It was like there was a big memo that went around about whatever and stuff. That was the closest I came to anything on this level of crazy. So DJ Ryan G's pointing out different consumer electronics went well for $200 PCs in 2000. But yeah, I mean, PlayStations and Xboxes and all that kind of stuff. I lived through some of that crazy for sure.
I worked at a Garden Ridge, which is like a home center now, one year, and there was two fights that broke out. One in the potpourri and one with these like ceramic dome, like they were like those like fairy ball kind of things that you would put in your garden at the time. They were really big, and yeah, it was a mess. Because there's broken stuff everywhere, and there was potpourri thrown everywhere, like just chunks of
the potpourri of the fist of flying.
We had to shut the store down for a while because it was wild. So I've seen this kind of crowd before.
Yeah, so I never really had to deal with any of this because, well, by at the point that this movie's taking place, I would have been about 5 or 6 years old, maybe 7. So like the big craze of sort of the Black Friday shopping from like this era sort of flew by me, and sort of the tail end of that stuff was like the Wii, and by that point I'm just graduating high school, and so I never really did get all in on the Black Friday shopping. In fact, I was always kind of like, because as like online shopping was starting to come online, I was quickly jumping over to that. So I had never really gotten into this.
Did you get a Morphin Power Ranger toy when you were around age, let's say 5 to 8?
I might have.
So somebody did this, Loki. Someone knocked down somebody in a KB Toys or Toys R Us for a little Caster.
I got my Nintendo 64 for Christmas that one year.
Might have been some chaos.
I did grow up during the Cabbage Patch craze, and I did hear stories of them fighting over one of the preemies. And back then, the Cabbage Patch preemies had solid heads, instead of the empty kind of ones, and like it turned into like an assault charge,
and a weapon,
because they like yanked it out of the box and swung it at people. So I did know about the Cabbage Patch thing. I did have a Cabbage Patch at the time too. I heard about that, but I haven't participated in any of those shenanigans.
Cannoli says he's proven out our 20-year rule, I believe. Didn't care for this when I was younger. I did not like this movie for some reason. Now I'm older, appreciate it more. It's become the one that I rewatch every holiday. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so let us know. We have the 20-year rule, so.
Yep. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll say, just to give that a little bit of context, because it's always worth kind of keep refreshing, keeping people posted on what's going on. Father of the Year is who's the salesman of the year was too busy buying all the gifts, or too busy trying to do all the sales, and just completely forgot to get the gift at all. So that's the whole thing of like, oh yeah, don't worry, honey, I will go get the present.
Yep, they're nowhere at the point where like he's driving around town, no one's got him. He's just constantly running into just one hurdle after another, that kind of thing. So let's see. Went to Black Friday at Toys R Us. See, the stories are true. Was not disappointed. People were crazy. Yeah, the eras have changed. I don't know where we're at, because my family definitely did Black Friday a lot together. And what they stopped doing was the whole barrage storming the place thing, and they would start to have stuff around. They would have lotteries. They would have stations. They would have different things. So depending on the era, I don't think it's nearly quite as crazy now. But I could be wrong. It could be over certain items for sure.
Well, that's one of the other little like kind of things that makes this movie a bit of a capstone for a different era, because online shopping is just such a big part of it now that people almost don't even bother going out. Like the local Walmart is just shut down for Thanksgiving Day. We're starting to see a trend of these major big box retailers are giving the employees the day off. So they're not even like
last year. It's good.
Yep.
Well, that also happened with the Coof. The Coof really did that, because a lot of stores started closing at night that might have been open 24 hours, like Walmart, and then you got this. So they just kind of went back to, as far as holidays go, they kind of went back to the way it used to be.
Yep. Cannoli, bless you, my friend. Thank you for that. Member for 7 months. Appreciate you, Cannoli. Appreciate that a lot.
As crazy as it would seem, Thanksgiving and Christmas, if you went out back in like the 90s, there wasn't anything open. You were correct. Lucky if you found a gas station where the guy was like, "Oh, hello, sir. I speak English. Please come inside and get your snack." And you'd be like, "Oh, thank God, somebody's open."
Yeah. It was only gas stations, pretty much. Yeah. 7-Eleven, gas stations, Chinese restaurants.
Chinese, yes.
Chinese restaurants were always open. And trying to think if there's like, not much else. There might be a bar or two in your town, depending on where you were. Like, that was pretty much it growing up for years and years and years and years. So, let's see. I saw a guy get a hold of a a PS3 in line, turned to the guy behind him and sold it for $605. Wow. Well, that's one strategy. Yeah.
I mean, remember the sale price for that was what, $5.99? He made up what, $10 profit.
Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
oh no, that's different. $650.
Yeah. I know. Crazy. I remember when the news talked about parents fighting for Tickle Me. The Tickle Me Elmo was actually happening while this movie was out, so that was part of that craze for sure.
You know, there were some stories I remember hearing maybe like 5-10 years ago of like when Black Friday sales were still big. There's one particular story that always kind of stood up in my mind where this guy went to the store, bought himself a big TV, had his buddy come back with a truck to pick him up. And he gets it back home and realizes I left my car and my toddler in the car at the store.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's been some stories of that. People leaving their kids during the shopping writ large, like people at the mall. That would happen. So, would you rather have a soft head or hard Ninja Turtle? I didn't know there were soft head ones. I'm not sure which ones we're talking about.
Are we talking about OG? If we're talking about OG, we're talking about OG original Ninja Turtles. They had a
squishy head.
Squishy head. Okay. And the I know the necks aren't like that. The necks are hard. So.
Depends which one you're getting hit with.
This guy right here. This is way before eBay, Pat. You know that. It's at least 10 years before that. Dwayne's in the house. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. There's a scene where Arnold's character accidentally causes a fire. The Simpsons had an episode where Bart actually burns down Christmas presents. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep. And that's when they get Santa's little helper.
Mm-hmm.
They get their dog.
One of the first episodes too.
Yep.
When was this? I worked Christmas. It was a half day. I worked Christmas. I worked Christmas and New Year's half day. They were half days. Not Christmas Eve.
For us.
Yeah, they were Christmas Eve. They would close early, and then on Christmas Day they would open back up late, and people would come bonkers because they were done with their Christmas. They would go to the movies, and it turned into like a massive rushes for us on Christmas. That was in definitely '89. Definitely when Batman era was that year for sure. I remember '89 a lot. So. All right, so yeah, desperation, being the parent that waited too long, thinks they got the line on how to get a toy after just shenanigans at the toy store where they do like a marble thing. He's chasing a kid through tubes. It's completely crazy, battling Sinbad and all these other people. I will say at least they did a great job of decorating like the Great Mall of America with all the stuff everywhere, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, IRONCASTER, it's your neck of the woods, man. That pretty cool stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, I remember when malls used to be all elaborate like this. You would have the tinsel going all over the place. But the other things that really stick out at me is just like the way that the stores mark up the prices because they know they got what you guys want, and what they got is Turbo Man.
Mm-hmm.
With karate chop, turbo action.
Yeah. So then he finds a Santa. And the Santa said, I can hook you up, man. So Jim Belushi's role, he's got his little elf helper, and they're going down the street to this underground. Oh, isn't that Vern Troyer right there?
Yep.
So, yep.
And Paul White, the giant.
Is it White? Is that his name? Yeah.
The Big Show?
Cool. Big Show, right?
Paul White, yeah.
Yeah, he plays the giant Santa. Yeah, this was good stuff.
Show you that little trend of like there was always this effort to try to turn wrestlers into these movie characters because they're all these big presences on that do a good job of drawing attention to the scene. They're all tend to be very well built, very physically, and traditionally attractive looking. They're bigger than life personalities that people have a big old fan base and audience to. It's a smart idea to bring in some of these wrestlers. How many people want to see like the Hulkster like jump out in the middle of the movie and suddenly tell people like, "Whoa, kids! Whoa!
Yeah, get your Turbo Man." Yes, I know. Huh. All right. That sounds good. Yeah. When Sinbad slips and laughs. So most of the stuff between Arnie and Sinbad are ad-libbed. A lot of that stuff was ad-libbed. So
That's why it's funny.
yeah, just great
That's
off
not
the
allowed
cuff.
anymore. You can't do that. You got to stick to the crappy comedy they wrote you now.
So Squeaky, you've been quiet. Does any
Yes.
of this stuff work for you? Did you have any fun with some of the shenanigans? Did it just not tickle the mouse's fancy, so to speak?
I mean, some of it did back and forth. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've been spoiled by some funnier, and I don't know. Maybe Journey to the West and Kung Fu Hustle is more my style. But I mean, some of it, yes. I did like the fact that it did. Now that I know that there was a lot of ad libbed, it seemed that way between these two, so that makes it even better.
Mhm.
As far as like, I was like, either they were really good actors or but yeah, I liked how they kept coming back to some of the humor. Like I did like the cop that kept coming back. I liked him. Like when he hits the motorcycle and like it's like, oh. So yeah, it was kind of hit or miss for me, but I mean, I liked pieces of it. Just some of
Yeah.
it I was like, oh. I guess because maybe I didn't see it back in the day. I didn't have that nostalgia piece for it.
It makes sense.
No,
It's
no,
fine.
there is some of this movie that's just like blah that I couldn't care less about.
I did like the Santa Claus scene. I did I did like this. And then there was I was told like one of these people is a wrestler too.
This big guy.
Him,
Yeah.
the big guy.
Yeah. Huge man. So yeah, no, this is great. And Vern Troyer is the midget, not this one, the other guy, the one that flies backwards. That's the guy that ultimately this one is Mini Me from the Mike Myers, for Austin Powers. That's Mini Me.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, I'll watch Austin Powers someday.
Oh,
Austin
Why do y'all
Powers,
make
man.
these faces at me? Stop telling y'all things.
And I will say there was sort of, and this is probably like really kind of predates the movie. So I think this was like a nostalgia thing for its release, was this black market knockoff toy thing. So that really become a thing even as early as like Star Wars stuff. Like it would be like, I don't know, in between movies, let's say 81, and you'd have a relative who'd gotten you some sort of knockoff droid, whatever, and you were like, oh, yay, thanks. And it's like it'd fall apart the first time you played with it. Obviously, Transformers came along, and you had people who were like anti-GoBot and all the knockoff Transformers and GoBot toys. And yeah, so by the time you get to this movie, almost everyone has dealt with that sort of fake manufactured, it wasn't really stuff from China at that point. There's a lot more stuff from Japan that was really talked about, but just the idea of just cheap stuff was definitely part of everybody's sort of lexicon and stuff for sure. Let's see. There was a second time Belushi did a cameo in Arnie movie, Last Action Hero. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Arnie's face feels. Yeah, I know. It's good stuff. I know. She's got a long list though, Chris. We have to kind of balance her. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm sorry, Mr. Prisham.
Well, I feel like when we do that, we need to like pair it with a James Bond movie 1 week, and then the next week is an Austin Powers movie. That way we can kind of make sure we cover the bases.
We'll see. We'll try to work with SQUEEKA on that. Try to make sure we maximize the effect the best we can. So yeah, that's fair. So
speaking of knockoff gifts, my ex-mother-in-law did give my daughter 1 year all of the Disney collection, but they were all in Chinese. So I mean, I have seen that. Like you get to the load screen and it's like, I don't know which one of these is play movie. Let's just guess. And then you get options. Luckily the movie had subtitles, so we learned to read all of the Disney movies, but yeah, it was an interesting watch.
I bought a knockoff Predator once when I got to the paint was bad, plastic was. Oh, that's what do they call it? Because they can't call it Predator. I wonder if they just called it like jungle creature or alien, something like that. Usually what they do, right? Would be
Does that mean it was Jean-Claude Van Damme in the suit? Is that the knockoff
Maybe.
Predator? Like, did you
Maybe.
get that?
But like a Luke Skywalker would be like Space Walker or something is what it would say. Yeah. He would have brown hair and it would just be completely different. So yeah, indeed. Let's see. Let's jump ahead a bit. They're kind of like sulking back and forth and what they're going to do and not do. There's all the fantasy of how bad they're going to get, and if they can't figure out how to deliver, the radio show is going to give one away. And man, this is something that totally hits home. So that was my big thing with the kids, with our kids, with Tickle Me Elmo. We would just try to call the radio. So working at a lab, working third shift, less competition, put these phones on road, multiple lines, and try to win a Tickle Me Elmo. But I wasn't going down to some radio station. I definitely wasn't fighting people for it, but I was certain that it would happen. I was certain that it would happen for sure.
Did it happen?
Yeah. I was never involved in a brawl. Actually, there was
No. Did you get one?
I don't remember. I know they ultimately got one, but I don't think it was probably for that Christmas. It was probably the next year or something like that. Because we were never going to go through any major shenanigans. I don't remember ever winning something off the radio like that. I got like concert tickets from time to time, things of that nature. But the biggest Black Friday shenanigans, we were all together in the family. My middle daughter is really young, so this is going to be at least 14 years ago, 2010-ish or so. And my wife hears commotion, shouting, screaming where my son and I are, and she's trying to get through the crowd, get over there, find out what happened, worried that something is happening, get over there. And Jake and I are on top of the pallets, screaming at people to calm down and knock it off, and we're handing out stuff to people. That was the closest to actual chaos. Was we just decided we were just going to take control of the scenario and deal with these old ladies and give them out there. We were in like home goods and stuff, like getting like a stick vacuum and a crock pot, and people were fighting over all sorts of crazy stuff. We were like, no, stop it, knock it off, people. So yeah, that's my big Black Friday moment. That wasn't really that big a deal, I guess, but let's see, these two guys, and then we get to our Martin Mull cameo, his little bit part at the radio station because he allegedly has a bomb in the mail. So I'm assuming, SQUEEKA, this didn't age well for you. Like, this didn't even remotely bring a laugh or anything because it's just another one of those tropes that's so long ago.
It was predictable. Yeah, it was like, oh, haha, I have a bomb. It's not a bomb. It's a music box. And haha, I got a bomb. No, it really is a bomb. Like, yeah, it was like, maybe it is that nostalgia of not seeing it when I was younger. But it was, this part at least was kind of predictable. And of course, the cop would be the one to get the box bomb. Like, it was a little...
It makes no sense why that cop would get the box bomb, but yeah, I
yeah,
get it.
but he was but he spent 10 years with the bomb squad. 10 years.
It's and the thing is, and one of the rather unfortunate things is kind of looking at this scene here and now, and having gone through all the 9/11 era stuff and how much the world has changed. Like, that is a joke. It's like, it's probably the one thing with the movie that's I say is aged the worst. And the thing is, like, and a lot of that's also the fact that so much of this movie is a time stone of a different time. Because just the premise of it alone is the big hunt for getting this toy, which kids don't play with toys like they used to, so we don't have nearly as much a demand for these toys at Christmas time like we used to. So much of this movie is just, unfortunately, is kind of its own time that just doesn't quite
the bygone era. Look at IronCasTer. He sounds like he's the old man, Loki. Like, he's making me feel like young again. It's like he's the one talking about, oh, I remember when I'm so old now. I remember when we had to fight off people to get my Mighty Morphin Power Ranger doll.
With karate chop, turbo, Power Ranger action. I've got one of those somewhere around here. Somewhere.
I want the little gloves that shoot out the rings. Can I get one of those made? The little
the fist?
Yeah, that shoot out the little turbo rings.
It's like a large Marge
type person, and then there you go. Phil's moving in. Bill's moving in on old Mrs. Tom Hanks, baby.
You know, every time I look at Phil Hartman in this movie, all I can think is Bill Gates.
Bill could only wish he was that tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even he's not. Bill would only wish he was also that handy and good with the ladies, and he could eat that many cookies. Yes, but good call. He looks like Bill Gates a lot. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Dwayne knows. Yep, Star Team was the lame knockoff of Star Wars: The Fall of '97. Little comic inside drawn by Dave Cockrum, and yeah, they rebranded Star Team. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is when the stuff with Bill is fantastic, and then we get this crazy, weird reindeer thing happening, which I guess, I mean, for me, I think I do like the fact that he's at least, able to have a sense of humor with himself and do the things that he does, setting the house on fire and all the shenanigans taking place. And
well, I mean, the thing is,
reindeer. Oh my goodness, the reindeer.
I mean, this also makes the second time in Arnold's career where he's had to punch out an animal. Because if you think back to Conan, he punched out the camel.
Yes, he did.
A lot of animal punching.
That camel was talking smack, though. I was going to spit on
I'm sure this reindeer was too.
Yeah, I was ready to defend Arnold with the reindeer too. She's like, I can punch out a camel. I can punch out a reindeer.
Dwayne is a lot smaller though in this than he was in Conan. He was a big boy in Conan.
I did like the part where he's commiserating with the reindeer and their buddies. I didn't see that comment. I did kind of like that part. I'm like, oh, they're friends now.
They worked it out. They're both in the that's where all the snacks are. So
he did that with the camel too. The next time he saw the camel, he was like, "Oh, I'm very sorry, my friend. It wasn't my intention." And the camel's like, "Wow!" and just spits all over. And he's like, "Oh no, knocks the camel out."
That's great.
And all this here is sort of predated upon like Arnold's like looking over at Phil Hartman, like schmoozing on his wife. And he's remembering how earlier in the movie, Phil Hartman said, like, I got my kid one of them months ago.
Yep.
He's like, I know where I can get one. You're going to take my wife? I'll take your toy.
Ends up burning down the house, fighting with a reindeer. Shenanigans break out. And off to the parade. Oh, that's great. So this is Phil Hartman's kid. Here's little Anakin. And this is Phil making his move. She's not having it.
She's like, nope, nope.
Not in a Ford Windstar.
Little weasel compared to Arnold.
Oh, sorry, Dodge Caravan. Robert Conrad has to make his a cameo, even though he's got burnt. He's all bandaged up from the bomb squad stuff. Those are details for Ironcaster right there.
Yep.
And Arnold goes backstage where they're doing shenanigans, getting ready. He ends up being the guy cast in the suit, which is great because it just sort of happens. And I will say, the first time you see the movie, you kind of know where they're going, but you don't exactly know. You know, if you didn't see the trailer and stuff, so it was all right. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did like oh my gosh, what's the pink guy's name? I can't remember the pink guy's name, but I remember I liked how he was like, dude, you're supposed to be waving.
Yeah, Booster.
Yeah, Booster. He's like telling him instructions, like, you're supposed to be waving. Pick up the doll. Pick a kid already. Like, where'd they get this guy? Why doesn't he know what to do?
But I mean, Sinbad comes around and says what we are all thinking. Nobody likes you, Booster.
Yep.
I didn't expect the kids to jump him on the street, though. Like, I didn't expect that part to happen.
The limited edition Turbo Man calls out his kid, but guess who somehow snuck into the other bad guy's outfit? Like, okay, so yeah, this is where it gets a little ridiculous. Even SQUEEKA's like, okay, this is so absurd, I can't get there. But yeah, I know, I can feel your pain. The fights and the shenanigans are out of control. Booster's getting some of his, and there you go, flying around out of control.
The flight scene. Oh my goodness, yeah. guys, was this
It
funny
kind of
back in
reminded me of
'96?
Rocketeer.
Well, yeah, bad Rocketeer, right? Because they're just going for
Yeah.
some sort of effect, and yeah, they kind of, yeah, bad jetpack type stuff and silliness, and it just becomes like stuff for little kids at this point. Like it doesn't become you, and you're not alone. So we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise.
But I thought Rocketeer was a good movie.
It is. That's what I said. This is
Oh.
bad. It's
It
bad.
wasn't. It wasn't then. Rocketeer wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best movie ever. There was a lot of negativity around Rocketeer. It kind of became like, from the people that loved it, it became that cult classic, great movie.
Yeah, underrated film for sure.
I mean, you stop and you think about everything you see in the parade scene, all of the floats, all the stuff. You are seeing just how kind of hyper commercialized all of Christmas is, because everything you're seeing is, here's the Cat in the Hat, here's a Crayola crayon, here's I think Power Rangers at one point, and it's just all of these other legacy like pop culture elements and icons of the Christmas, all worked in.
Yeah, everything they could get on the back lot, they pulled in. Sonic, I think, makes an appearance, and there's a giant crayon. There's all sorts of crazy stuff for sure. Enemy Knight made it. Man, great to see you, man. Awesome. One of his favorites. Cool. He must have been at the right age for sure. So yeah, the shenanigans are out of foot. Of course, there's like little Jake Lloyd's hanging up the thing and has to be rescued. And who rescued him? None other than Howard. That's Turbo Man. Here we go. Oh, it's so heartwarming. Isn't it sweet? There we go. There's the image that saves the day. It's the thumbs up from Arnold.
And of course, we also get that nice little happy bit where Sinbad's being taken off in handcuffs, and here's little Jake Lloyd comes running up with his Turbo Man doll, and he hands it over so Sinbad's kid can get a Turbo Man for Christmas, because as Jake Lloyd says, like, well, what do I want the toy for when I have the real Turbo Man?
Yep.
Oh my god, that was so cheesy.
only he could have given that line. It's Wizard, Annie. Yeah, we know it's Wizard. God help him.
But does he like
find
sand?
another career? Oh wait, he did. Is that bad for me to say that? I'm sorry.
It's at this point, I think it's all, he's so bitter and jaded. It's an actor that I have no problem piling on. I mean, I tried to be polite to him at a show once, and he was a complete douchebag, and I didn't do anything.
yeah.
So listen, I know you've got bad days, whatever, dude, but listen, you're here. I don't understand. So, okay, so SQUEEKA, I'm with you. I don't like this movie. I don't care for this movie, but it has grown on me enough that it's just sort of like a pleasantry that can be on, and because I like the silliness of the scenes. Like I love the Santa scene, and I love seeing Phil Hartman and put the cookie down, and like you said, IRONCASTER, the shenanigans of the time are captured well for that. So it kind of takes me back to that piece of it. But especially like you said, the flying around scene and the silliness of that, nearly everything with Jake Lloyd, some of the other stuff, and the setup is pretty slow. It's a movie that's pretty rough. Now I admit, Mrs. Pops always makes me watch Deck the Halls as well, which is way worse than this movie. But by the way, can't stand Deck the Halls.
Who's in that one?
Matthew Broderick, Danny DeVito. DeVito has some sort of like insecurity complex. They move into this new neighborhood. He can never find any fulfillment with life, so he's decided that he's going to decorate his house with lights. Someone mentions that you can see houses from space, so it's about getting more and more lights. And all he's doing is, it's like the bad neighbor trope, where everything he's doing is ruining Matthew Broderick's character's life. And it's just so cliche and whatever. I don't care for that movie either. And there's like these are the kind of movies, there's like 3 or 4 that kind of make it into the regular rotation every year, because we watch a movie nearly every night together for this like month. And this one always makes it. So I enjoy a few scenes, but I'm kind of with you on this. I'm not going to pretend that I like it more than I do. But like I said, it kind of has grown on me a little bit. I think I do laugh a lot at the Santa shenanigans in particular. And obviously I love, put the cookie down, obviously. So
put the cookie down.
Oh, it's the best. Should we play the clip again? Just because? Just another.
Yes. Put the cookie down.
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les.
Put that cookie down now!
It doesn't really get old. I gotta be honest. I'll have to trim it.
I love that. I love the
Who
reading.
told you you could eat my cookies?
Yes, who told you you can eat my cookies? Mine.
Okay, SQUEEKA, how would you sort of like rate the experience and score the movie, and kind of how do you feel about things?
It's nice to have seen it and know it exists. It doesn't rank very high, unfortunately. Maybe if I like had it on the background, it would kind of grow on me. But it's just, I liked Home Alone better. Like, you know, like it didn't do
Home Alone
much
is
for
better.
me. There was a few things where I was tickled and I laughed at, but on the other hand, I was like, man, I missed some kind of Arnold train because I haven't seen any of his comedies. I haven't seen a lot of Arnold movies at all, actually. And if they're all like this, I don't know if I can watch the rest of the Arnold comedies.
They're not.
Like what,
No,
Kindergarten
I mean-
Cop, or what was the other one y'all mentioned?
Kindergarten Cop, I think,
Twins?
is way better. Twins is the first one, and it's fine. I think Kindergarten Cop is probably my favorite of the group. I think that's the one that I enjoy rewatching the most.
Yep.
This one probably gets rewatched the most because it's a holiday movie. I don't know. So, Ironcaster, what do you think, man? This is captured. We've kind of danced around. I think very similar perspectives on this one.
Yeah, this is one. It's been a number of years since I've revisited this. More often than not, whenever I watch it, I usually wind up always kind of happening to catch like the parade scene stuff. So it's like that's sort of the what I feel is like a lot of the big highlights are for me anyway. You know, is so there's sort of the question of what do I think about the movie and the rating on it. I think Arnold's always a delight in it. Phil Hartman steals any scene he's in because you want to see him be smarmy. You want to see him get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
You want to see him enjoy his cookies. But the problem is like the thing is it, you know, much like how we have the list of shark movies, we have to kind of look at this through the lens of what I feel is like holiday movies, Christmas movies. So it sort of falls into a different category because it's like you're not going to throw this out in the middle of like June just because, like you would, you know, any other movie. Like you're not going to watch, like you could watch Dune any time of year. So I guess it was kind of a bit of a question there of like, what do I think about it? As far as Christmas movies go, there are classic Christmas movies I really can't stand to rewatch. Like if I never see Santa Claus again, it would be too soon. And this is kind of falling more towards that category of like there's Christmas movies I would much rather watch. All things considered, I'm gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. It's fine. There's some great stuff in here.
Yeah, pretty similar score. I mean, you're actually probably. If I had to be a critic, I probably would give it a 4 out of 10, and then just say if you you know your thing and blah blah blah, kind of err on giving people the nudge for the extra star or so. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's fair. That's a pretty fair score.
I think you're right. You're fair. 4 out of 10 is apt.
Yeah, it's a little nudge if you're a little more lenient on things because it's Christmas or whatever. It's fine.
2 stars.
Yeah. What do you think, Loki? What are you thinking?
I think this is a mid movie. I got dragged to see this movie. My dad and his sisters drug me to see this movie. I did not want to go see it. I was like, I do not want to go see this little kid Christmas movie about this little brat. And I'm just like, oh no. Then I saw it, and it has some absolutely wonderful quotable lines in it. Some scenes with Bill Hartman. I love Bill Hartman to death. I probably would have appreciated it more at the time if I'd known he was going to be with us, because it's just one of those things that you're like, oh, he'll be in this and it'll be funny, or he'll be in that and it'll be funny. He came over from SNL, and at the time, they were hot. Bill Hartman was like the dad in everything, or he was Bill Clinton. Like, man, I didn't inhale, man. And you're like, oh my God, he's just so smarmy and so Bill. Arnold is Arnold. No matter what he is in, he is Arnold. Phil is Phil, and he will always be Phil. Sinbad is Sinbad in this, and he will always. So you've got these people that are like they all go in these movies and they play these different roles, but they're kind of all the same person in this mid movie that has that has parts that's just like, great and funny that you'll laugh at, but then you're just like, the movie's mid. Some of the comedy falls flat. Like the bomb thing. I didn't even remember that until I watched it again. I was like, oh yeah, there's this scene. And but you remember the cookies, you remember the reindeer, you remember these scenes. And everything else, it's almost like you tone it out like it never happened. So for that reason, it's a mid movie with some memorable stuff. And some good people. Some good people.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I feel like it's just, and I know I feel a lot, but I actually enjoy the Santa Claus, and I don't mind the second Santa Claus. I can't stand the third one. I hated the TV show, but I have it in this group of like mid to slightly better than mid. Like they're just in this big lump of them. Like Christmas with the Cranks is one. It's like, it's just, they just get into the holiday rotate because of Christmas. But I think you're 100% right, Ironcaster. For any other reason, I wouldn't be watching these movies. It wouldn't be on even if we're just watching movies every night. So it's really kind of a sad state of affairs that they abuse. So I'm getting ready to do a review. A little spoiler advance on this. It's called The Boy Named Christmas. It's on Netflix, and I never watched it. She asked if she wanted to watch it. I said, I'll watch it first. And it's such a sad sack of a movie. And it's like it's rewriting Santa Claus lore. And they basically just don't want it to be about religion, to be honest. That's because they name it anyway. So long story short, it's just this. It's even a less interesting mid movie. Like it's one. I don't want to watch this again. Like it didn't uplift me enough at all. At least at this one, I'm having some fun from time to time. I mean, you know what I mean. So that's kind of my take on it too. But it's funny how we all kind of came at it in different ways and all kind of landed about the same. Even though SQUEEKA is probably even a little bit lower than us, but. What do you guys in chat? Some of you in chat really like this movie. So what would be kind of a score for you guys out there? But I think that this really just lives on the fact that there's 2 or 3 funny elements. And obviously Phil Hartman's freaking great. So
yeah, it's just so tragic. This was one of the last movies he did before his untimely passing. And I mean, for that, there is we got to give it a little bit of a shine for that as well, because like it's like one of the last roles he did before he passed on. This and like Small Soldiers.
Yeah. Jake Lloyd got a lot of stuff from people, man, hating on him and stuff like that. And the sad thing is he was a kid actor, so he probably got a little bit of a bad beat, but he becomes such a awful, jaded human about it all that it kind of just made everybody hate you. So, people that are just like, crappy kid actors and they get a couple bad roles or whatever, I just don't expose yourself to a bunch of it. Definitely don't go to Comic-Cons and stuff. You're out of your freaking mind. So,
well, a lot of that he pulled, and this is one of the things they never talk about when anybody brings this up. He brought a lot of this on himself by acting like a little ass when he was a kid. Like when he got the role, he was like, I'm going to be in this and and he was rubbing in other kids' faces and all kinds of stuff and acting just like a little shit. Yep. Instead of being like, I'm going to be in Star Wars. How cool is that? It was, man, look at me. Yeah. And it all had to be about him. And then his career didn't go anywhere and he's still a jaded little shit. Sorry for my language.
Yeah, Star Wars is like just a couple years after this. It comes out in 99, SQUEEKA. So shortly after this, that little kid becomes the Star Wars character. Like I said, he's going to be the kid version of, the guy that grows up to be Vader, and just doesn't work at all. So, Lady Miss, fun movie. Yeah, we can agree that it has got some fun elements. 3 out of 5. Certainly no lower than that. DJ Ronnie G a little higher than us, but that's fair. Movie's offer stinks. 5.5. It stinks and still 5.5. Sugar cookies, huh? Pat is generous with his scores, man. Good, nice.
5.5 just for the cookies. That's it.
Yeah,
just for the cookies.
Yeah, probably gets an extra half star just for cookies. I got to be honest. If it's that freaking quotable, and you could just say, put the cookie down, everyone will know what you're referencing. If you've ever seen it, it's probably enough to give it, a bonus half star just on that alone.
But
I know now. If you'd have told me beforehand,
you would have seen the reference, obviously. Sure. Go ahead.
A lot of people know the reference without even having seen the movie. They're like, "Oh, is that where that comes from?" Yeah, that's where that comes from. Okay, and you're like, "Wow, okay." They know the term. Put the cookie down. They don't know
True,
where the
true.
hell it
I
came
have
from.
heard put the cookie down first. Yeah, you're right there. I have heard that.
So I do think there is a little bit of a problem though, because how many other great lines are there from this movie that are on par with that? There's not really a lot. That's just the one we keep going to because it is admittedly a fantastic line. That is super memorable. Everyone knows that line, even if they don't know the movie. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It works. But what else is there?
I don't know. I like I said, I laugh at the Santa scenes, and I laugh at the reindeer and setting the house on fire, and I laugh at Phil Hartman, and so I mean, but to this movie's defense, I have lines in those moments from this one. I got nothing from Christmas from the Cranks and Deck the Halls, and I can keep going with these other mid movies. This at least put something into the culture and the lexicon and society. Like, I mean, people, Arnold being who Arnold is did. So the other ones didn't. Cap says 6. He's got on VHS. Hey man, looks good. All right, fair enough.
Although I think if we're talking about Arnold one-liners, like Batman and Robin's a better movie.
No.
Stay cool.
It's going to be a cold night in Gotham.
What killed the dinosaurs?
The
Ice
Ice
Age.
I'm Mr. White Christmas. Oh, when he's doing the foot thing oh man, that is the very coolest. That is the coolest scene in any
Which
movie
Batman is
ever.
The worst one ever that doesn't really don't just find someone who would know enough of the references to just help you get the YouTube snips to get a couple of the pieces so you can get references. Don't subject yourself. It's that bad.
Arnold isn't playing Mr. Freeze. Arnold is playing Arnold again.
Yeah.
He's got the cigar. He's doing the thing. He's got the polar bear slippers. That's Arnold cosplaying Mr. Freeze. I'm not kidding. That's the way he did it. I'll cosplay him.
Oh man, Saturday B afternoon movie to watch. See, Lady Miss, that kind of is a good way to kind of look at it. The holiday. That's what happens. Is Mrs. Pops and I are like got this month-long thing. We all these movies. We throw them out there. We're gonna watch them, and this is one that just keeps getting picked year after year. It's like okay, and it's done. It's sort of like checked off the box. I'm glad that we did this, so now it's like off my box. I don't have to worry about it popping up in like a couple of days. That's the worst, man. When I'm in a really good mood or whatever, we end up picking one where it's one of these mid moons that kind of brings me down from where I'm at. So, like Loki, you were saying, like if this is you're just kind of get rolling with your Christmas spirit. Like it's easy to kind of build on the movie like this than it is to come back to it. It's like I'd rather move forward with, the better ones are yet to come kind of thing. So
yeah, Christmas Story is top of my list. That's what I will be watching either Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. Is the Christmas Story, because I can't go into Christmas without hearing "Deck the Halls with Boughs of Wowie." Wah rah 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 rah. I can't. I gotta hear him.
Yeah, been to those restaurants on Christmas. They definitely would do that if they needed to cut the sale for sure. Yeah, chugging the beer with the reindeer. Loki brought that up. That's a good moment. That's kind of fun. Oh, Scott, thank you so much. $5 super sticker, Scott. Thank you so much. He's been a member. He is in this long group with people like Chris and some others. They've been with me for over 2 years now. That's crazy, Scott. Thank you so much, Chris.
Been with me for 5
That's
years.
amazing, man, Scott. Thank you so much, Scott, and thanks for supporting the show and the channel and everything like that. It's crazy. Wow, we ran through Jingle All the Way because that's the best way for me to survive Jingle All the Way. So, but there it is, 1996. 28 years. Yeah, poor movie. Just couldn't. It also didn't. It went up against Space Jam, which Space Jam was just a phenomenon. I don't know. It was the kids wanted to see Space Jam repeatedly. So I remember the boys. The Space Jam was before
Looney Tunes
the boys.
were hot. Looney Tunes were freaking hot. They were at like their peak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Warner Animation had stores in the mall. They were selling all those cells and cool statues, and Warner.
Everybody wanted Jordan back playing basketball. It was like, we don't want to see you playing baseball. We want to see you playing basketball,
dude. Yeah.
There was a push for using Looney Tunes to sell stamps, to make stamps cool.
Yeah, Looney Tunes was.
And he did say, I told them exactly how I wanted the beginning of the movie to be. He said, I want them to be like, Mr. Jordan, do you need anything? No, Mr. Jordan, are you comfortable? Oh, Mr. Jordan. While he's playing baseball, he's like, guys, I just want to play the game. And they're treating him like he's like baseball royalty when he's not. He didn't want that. So, of course, he's going to go, you know what? If I wanted to be treated like this, I'd still be playing basketball. So,
yeah. And to Jordan's defense at the time, because many of us were just obsessed with following how he was doing. He was progressing pretty rapidly. If he had actually been doing this for like 10 or 15 years, he actually would have been really, really good. He was progressing fast, but when you're that far behind the curve on the learning, But he couldn't. I mean, it created chaos for everywhere that team went. It was a huge buzz in the thing. So when Space Jam came out, it was a massive thing. And movies like this really, like we talked about before, just finding their lane, the timing with the box office, like that just mattered a lot. So, Lady Miss has not seen Space Jam. Well, there you go. It's another little afternoon. You called it a afternoon B movie, I think you said, for fun, Lady Miss. I think with Space Jam, you'll have fun. That's how I can say it. If nothing else, you'll have fun.
Wait a minute. SQUEEKA.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen Space Jam?
Uh-oh. I was hoping y'all wouldn't ask that question. Like
I was taking the bet. I was betting no. I knew. No.
I was rooting for you, SQUEEKA. I was hoping to be surprised.
You know what,
I had
SQUEEKA,
lots of Space Jam paraphernalia. Like I had, what was it, Lola Bunny or whatever her name was. Like we were big Looney Tunes people back then, and I remember it, but I never actually watched it.
Yeah,
I envy you, SQUEEKA. I really do.
The first time experience with movies,
I
the
do,
hit and miss,
because you get to see this fresh, or you got to miss all the stuff that was never worth watching to begin with. So,
well, we still made her watch
my
this,
brain's
which...
filled with
I
horrible
was
movies that I wish I could forget.
We got her on a mid, but we have to keep the scale. So I think DJ Ronnie G was talking about the scale, the scoring system. So this is kind of have to, when you get nerdy into the scoring thing and critiquing thing, you kind of have to build this sort of like scale of comparing movies. And then I also think, what is your criteria of evaluating? Because I don't think critics do a good job of that. I always thought it was important to give a movie a pretty fair, objective, this is my score, but then kind of add some caveats. Like, if you've got a little kid and it's a little boy, it's in action figures, he's going to have a pretty good time watching the Turbo Man movie because he's going to relate it to something in his life that he wants and whatever. Like your little kids are going to be fine with Turbo Man and the end of that movie and the shenanigans and stuff like that. So Space Jam was definitely in that same vein where the kids are going to have a blast with this movie for sure. So, yeah. But we make it up to you next week, SQUEEKA. We do make it up to you next week because that's your pick.
Yes, that's my favorite movie.
Year
but I like all
Santa.
of the Rankin Bass movies. I really do.
Yeah. Joker Voice has to be here. He has a certain love for some of the Rankin Bass, and we haven't had him on forever in a minute. So I said, yeah, hey, man, come on up in here and talk about it for sure. And I think I have a soft spot for the Heat Miser and the song sequences in particular, Snow Miser, Heat Miser song sequences. So yeah, the kids didn't pick it. I don't know. I don't know when to get to a video. The kids had their choice because obviously there's a stack of movies. The kids were here. What are you going to pick? The kids picked, ready? They picked Grinch, the original animated Grinch,
Solid.
Rudolph.
Solid.
And then there was something else. Hang on, it'll come to me in a second. And then Year Without Santa Claus. Well, we watched the other one. Watched that one too. I was like, oh, okay, they're doing okay. And then they went, they want to watch the 2018 Grinch and the other Grinch. It was like a Grinch fest. It got irritating by the time we're on like day 3 and they're ready to go home. It's like, we sat through 2 movies and the real one. But it's okay. They're happy. So yeah, they were solid picks. They didn't do anything crazy. But yeah, it was all the OG type stuff. They don't ask for new stuff they don't even bother asking for new stuff. So
there's a sequel to Year Without a Santa Claus too.
Mm-hmm.
It had a sequel, and the sequel to me is just as good.
Okay. IRONCASTER's debating the sequel in his head right now. I can feel
Oh no, I was just trying to think. Like, I was trying to remember. Like, there was like a live action version of it done, and I think Mickey Rooney was the Heat Miser.
A live action version. Interesting. Wow, look at Lady Miss throwing down the buttons and bells and stuff. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, animated Grinch is the goat. Yeah, the kids have good taste. Kids have good taste. Thanks for that. Good point. Yeah, just it's kind of like an ever thing. Like I think also too, I don't know, Loki. We always talked about doing a show like this. Maybe that's one of those fill-in weeks. IRONCASTER, take a note of. It's like one of those movies that you've changed your mind on, like radically changed. Like you may have liked a lot, and then if you watched it later, you're like, man, this did not age well at all. Or vice versa, it's grown on you, and you have like a pretty big change in your sort of perspective as you get older, things like that. That definitely is the case too with things you don't necessarily pick up the first time you watch it. And I love commentary and director stuff. Sometimes when I hear pieces of what the stories were behind the movie, or I find out something was based on true story, like I just found out that Heat was based on a true, cop catching bad guy story. I'm like, wait, I didn't know this was rooted in real life. Not a true like biography, but it's definitely rooted. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Similar Training Day, right? It's kind of like it's rooted in some real. That adds some levels and depth for me. So it's one of those ideas. So
I had to look this up. There is a 1995 Christmas movie with John Lithgow in it called Santa Claus. I absolutely hate this movie. I tried to watch it. I think last year or the year before. I watched this in the summer when I was a kid. I absolutely loved it. John Lithgow plays this like evil businessman that wants to sell kid glass and candy and all kinds of stuff. He's just like this late 80s, early 90s corporate sleaze. That's absolutely terrible. The movie is terrible, but I watched the hell out of that when I was a kid. I thought it was great.
What's it?
I can't.
Oh, 85. I see 85, not 95.
Oh, maybe it was 85.
It's the Dudley Moore one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's 85. The one.
It's got a great poster, at least.
I saw this in the theater. My grandmother took me to see it, and I remember thinking, man, she was early, so she thought it was great because at the time, kind of like the way they did some of the effects and stuff and whatever. Maybe they liked Dudley Moore. I have no idea why they took us. And I remember thinking, about it, and I'm with you. I remember it being on Tubi, I think, and I kind of started it, and after like a while, I was like, God, this is awful.
This is awful.
This is freaking awful.
But you thought it was, it had a cool beginning. They were like taking little wooden toys, him and his wife, to kids, and they get stuck out in the snow, and they find Santa's like workshop, and he becomes Santa. And it's magic. It's like the elf saved his life, and in return for that, he becomes Santa Claus. And he was already a giver and all that. But beyond that, the rest of that movie is trash.
Yeah, I couldn't get through it again. I kept dipping. I would pause it and dip out, and then I'd come back, try to watch a little bit, and dip. After like the third or fourth try, I'm like, never mind, I'm done. Never done a video on it, just moved on. So, past talking about the Christmas Carol, the 1940s one. That movie's scary. There's several of the old G ones that are interesting. I thought about doing something on those, but there are so many Christmas Carol themed movies. It gets to be a pretty long list. We can maybe
pick. Stewart one's great.
Yeah, that one's good. I'm a Muppets fan of that one. Yep. I think that one's actually one of the home runs that the Muppets did with theatrical. So for sure, that was one of my favorites for sure. But yeah, there's great Christmas Carol stuff for sure.
See, so. I'm such a big fan of going for the really, really notoriously bad stuff. Like, I'm probably going to go sit down and watch the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's become a yearly tradition for me. Or I'll go watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians with, like, the riff tracks, just to find some of the bad ones to really kind of ring in the year with and, laugh at them.
Do you tune everything out and watch those, or you just have them on while you're doing some other stuff?
Oh, I watch them.
Okay, I don't do that. I don't mind having this holiday special on, or like the really bad Santa Claus Martian one, or what if I'm just doing other stuff. And actually, I thought about doing like a like a watch party of one that's in public domain. There's like a Santa versus Satan Santa Claus movie from 1959. It's really bad. It's like I think it's a Mexican film. Anyway, but I'm like, I don't really ever watch this movie though. I just kind of like have it on. So I kind of feel like a hypocrite to put that out there. Like I actually watch this movie because I don't. So yeah, I don't know.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
No, just
we're
stop.
Not doing Santa
just stop,
Jaws.
you two. No, we're not. No, stop. Put,
I haven't seen it though.
You don't. We don't even acknowledge that we're watching more. No,
we're not doing that ever.
We're gonna close the show.
Right, Pops? We're not doing that ever.
No, I'm out. We're done. No.
Okay.
We're going to put him in timeout. We're just going to put him in timeout. IRONCASTER, let's go ahead and let's plug your show and your channel. We had a good mech pick last night. Checking out some sort of stream stuff, but I still hasn't answered my question. I went through the beginning of the show as well. Again, I think I missed it. Like, what service were you testing? Like, what service?
So I was trying out some streaming StreamYard alternative from Streamlabs.
Streamlabs, okay.
Yeah, and so I wanted to kind of play around with that a little bit, and I had a couple of guys on. We were just kind of, have a little chit chat while I played with some of the new toys, and I think all things considered, I might try using that a bit more because there's a couple of features there I like. It's got this ability to automatically set up a video to play for the outro, so you can end the stream and it'll play that. But anyway, yeah, like I said, so Monday nights over at my channel, Mech Pit Chat, we'll talk about some big robot stuff and all the fun things we might be getting for Christmas. Like I teased this earlier, but Pops, you are the best.
Are you gonna let him show? Okay. It's your favorite one, right? Your favorite character?
Oh, Cliffjumper. Yeah, no, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem, brother. Merry Christmas. Yeah, all right. Loki, what's going on, man? What YouTube talk tomorrow and some shenanigans the rest of the week?
YouTube talk tomorrow should be interesting. I got a message from a good friend, and we're going to talk about not putting up with any bullshit and not giving a crap what other people think. So don't let everybody else's BS interfere with what you do, how you do it. Don't let them get you down. And if people want to act like you're a monster, by God, be one. Because I want to tell you, that's the funnest thing you can do is be a monster when they all think you're a monster. So, yeah, that's what we'll be talking about.
Sounds like a show I need to pay attention to.
I just sick Loki on them is what I would do. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Embrace. If people think you're evil, by all means, embrace it and let them think you're evil.
I tell people I'm evil. Nobody believes me half the time.
That's because you're a sweetheart. You can't.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. Naughty or not, I don't see it. SQUEEKA, you got another show coming up this week? You taking, some time over on Zach's or Roman or something?
I think Roman asked me on next week's, maybe. But Thursday nights I think it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. I do 7 Days to Die with Beard. This Thursday is going to be funny because I accidentally made a lot of zombies appear near where we're at. So hopefully we don't die. So I do that on Thursdays. Saturdays, if I'm in town, I'll hang out with Loki in the Cotton Connection. And then Monday, Jan and I are starting our new once a month thing called Wonderland, where we have a guest on and they pick a topic and we do all kinds of weird research on it. And this December's topic is tiramisu. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be with The Plot Strikes Back. And I think it's 9 Eastern. It might be 10 Eastern. I get them too mixed up. People don't do things in the right time zone. Everything should be central, in my opinion. That's just me.
All right, on we go with
That'll
that.
Be fine.
Lady Miss says she's evil to the bone. Yes. Yeah, he did have an inner Jack going on there. So awesome. This Friday, I'm doing my first live show after Loki's show. So I'm trying to figure out how to buffer some sort of intro to when actual Valhalla ends to I can start. So I'm shooting my start time around 10:15, so I don't have any major overlaps. I'll probably run for an hour and a half or so. So just kind of a weekly catch up, kind of talk about some different things, have some different topics that are in the description. If you want to go to that live stream, check that out. And my guest this week will be Jay Harang, a YouTuber who joined me a year ago as we were discussing and defining like what is a Christmas movie? What is? How do we? Is Die Hard? Is Gremlins? Is Batman Returns? Is Shazam? I mean, there's a whole bunch of crazy things that get thrown out there. So he'll be back. We'll talk about that a little bit, amongst other things. So that's my first one. This Friday Popscast. So that'll be my first one. So sure you check that out. And then next week we will be back. A Year Without a Santa. Be good stuff. Yes, Joker voice will be in the house with this. So it's good. Ironcaster showed off his gift. I don't have anything to show. My daughter says the box is still empty. I don't have it yet, Ironcaster, but I'll have it next week. SQUEEKA's going to have to throw some gift ideas out here for us. So
Squeak is horrible at receiving gifts.
I know.
Your presence is gift enough.
That's not how this works. It's not how this works. But...
I'm embracing my non-gift self. That's what Loki told me to do.
Oh, jeez.
This is my evil side.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Bald guy inside. It's good stuff. Before we go, let's do it one more time because we won't play it again. Maybe I should keep it to the rest of the holiday season, but at least for now.
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les.
Put that cookie down now!
Oh.
He's ticked.
The noises, though.
Oh, yeah. That's Phil. That's all Phil Hart.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, brother. There's a link, you guys. Make sure you get a little notice, whatever, and on the follow-up Loki show every Friday. We'll try to do that for a while. Hopefully every Friday will work. Maybe there'll probably be one or two that might pop up. I'm trying to work out the bugs between now and the first of the year. So once we're at the first of the year, kind of have it rolling and make some adjustments if I need to. Let's go from there and have some different folks on and different topics and hodgepodge of stuff that I don't always get to. So
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm mood for a snack. Maybe some cake.
I thought you were going for pie because out of the pie references, or he's going to switch from cookie to pie.
Well, you were expecting me to say cookie.
No, I did not. I expected you to be the shark catcher that you are. So, thanks again, SQUEEKA. Appreciate you so much. The generosity, Scott as well. Incredible. You guys are just amazing out there, and Cannoli for being a member for 7 months as well. Bless you, brother. And all you amazing people in chat, especially you, Chris Persia, doing what you do out there. Pat holding down the fort with all the link, subscribe, suggestions, and stuff that you guys do. Really appreciate that. And it's a blessing, man. It's always great to be here with you wonderful folks. You guys are amazing. And yeah, we'll do it. So we did cookies a whole bunch of time. I feel a little weird doing cookies again. So we'll do some shenanigans. Have a good time, folks. Take care. Be blessed. Talk hard.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.